So I thought it would be useful for us to kind of talk about simple things we can do to maintain the mental health of a parent and even those siblings who may be left behind, or aunties and uncles, or just other family members, how we can continue to parent through grief. What can we do? One thing that we don't talk about often in our culture is the mental health decline that occurs because of unresolved grief. Grief is one of those things that is like we all endure, we all know happens, we all know exists in our culture, but we just simply don't want to look at it. We don't want to talk about it. We don't want to bring it to the forefront of our lives. And so it's one of those things that just kind of happens to so many of us that goes unaddressed. When I was 13 years old, my brother passed away. He was only 20 years old. And unfortunately, it was a pretty tragic death and very, very sad. And it really turned my family inside out. It was one of the hardest things I've ever experienced. And like so many parents, my parents simply didn't know what to do. They were so grief-stricken, and rightfully so. They've lost a child. They were so grief-stricken and broken and hurt that they simply did not know how to be there for me. They didn't know what to do. And so I thought it would be useful for us to kind of talk about simple things we can do to maintain the mental health of a parent and even those siblings who may be left behind, or aunties and uncles, or just other family members, how we can continue to parent through grief. What can we do? And we might be looking for some major tactic we can use to just make it all easier, but we have to be okay with it being messy, overwhelming, and confusing, because that is what grief is. It might feel like anger today, sadness within the next 30 minutes, and 45 minutes later, it feels like just feeling lost. So one thing I wish my parents would have known, and I believe would have supported and helped them in their healing, is to simply talk about it. Talk to me, talk to friends, talk to somebody so that they can have the opportunity to release some of that. There is something about expressing and communicating grief that allows us to release it. It gives us an opportunity to just kind of talk through it so that they can find some peace, so that they can help me. Or even just talking to the child, talking to the cousin or the family member, talking to your children about this is what is happening. Unfortunately, this is what this means. And then giving us a way forward. That's the next thing a lot of parents need to do. Not looking for a fancy technique or something amazing to do. But one thing I wish my mother would have done, my father would have done, is simply let me know that even though there's loss in this world, right now, I'm here with you. So when it's hard, we're together. When you're sad, we're together. When you don't know what to do, we can be together. And that would have helped me not have to go on the long journey of grief that I did. I didn't end up grieving my brother's death until years later. And it was uncontrollable. I couldn't even choose what was happening. It was just happening. And I was literally in class and I just started crying uncontrollably because I felt like I had to just kind of manage it on my own. So at the end of the day, if, and unfortunately when for most of us, grief comes, talk about it. And in order to parent through that, so that parent and child can leave with a healthier mental state, make sure you lean on each other and let your child know that we have each other through this journey. This is a tough topic, but one of those that we can take on and make better choices because now we know. For more tips like these, please reach out to Jai on Instagram and on their website.